can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you can't measure the extent of need, you can't manage the extent of need. I need a very sharp pencil, but help us sharpen it. Politics is my work. I like good news. I like good news that I can tell people about. I'd like to be able to say we are now at full employment, that our economy is growing at 15% a year. I'd like those kinds of things. But please don't give me what I like, give me what I need, because part of what I need to do is to help deliver democracy to people who've waited a long time for it to touch their lives.
I suppose since the UN was set up, people have gone to the UN and made great speeches and signed up to great reforms, and then from all our countries, people go home and carry on as usual. This time we've got very specific targets, and we need, in every country, year on year, to be measuring progress, so that the people of the country can see whether their government is keeping the promise. Governments that are trying can learn from what's succeeding and what's not succeeding and what's succeeding in other countries, and the world can hold itself to account.
The statisticians don't know that there's a difference between data and information. And actually what happens a lot of the time is that statisticians provide data when actually what is required is information. And you can define data as low-level information, which must undergo a process that adds value to the data to turn it into information, usable information, especially policy-related information. You write a report, 50 pages, of which 40 pages are statistical tables, and only 10 pages are text. And you send it to a ministry. These guys look at the table and say, well, nothing here for me.
As the count began, problems remained. The Nebo issue still demanded attention. Pali Lehotla and Deputy Minister Isop Pahad went to try and sort out the problem.
We are having certain priorities as communities on the ground. The priorities that we have, among the others, is a question of a border dispute, which has been now in discussion for over 2.5 years by the government. And then earlier on, before the census started, we made our appeal to the President and Deputy President Thabo Mbeki with regard to the problems we are facing here. We made them aware that we are not opposed in principle to the question of censuses. We want to be part of that, we want to be counted, because we are the residents of these areas. But unfortunately, our concern and our appeal was not addressed.
Today, a child is born. 6 years later, that child will have to go to school. 18 years later, that child will have to have a job. 25 years later, that child may be a man and want to marry. And therefore, there must be an area where they should build a house and so on. 60 years later, because you are an African and you don't live that long, your life expectancy is much shorter, you will die, and there must be a grave for you. So a census provides you with this information for which you can plan 40 years ahead of us. And well, I don't want to go into the border dispute, but I don't know whether really we should hold this instrument that will help us to plan 40 years ahead of us for our children at ransom because we have a border dispute.
Some African leaders are convinced of this.
You can't plan anything without information. You need information to plan. It's obvious. I don't know who disputes that. What do they say? Do they say that you can plan without information?